So I don't know what you just missed. It could be anywhere from just a couple minutes to, gosh dang, you could have missed a good 10 minutes. So if I throw in moon pictures or something, that'll be why. Don't panic. Today, we're going to do a screen repair on the Samsung Galaxy 8 with broken LCD. So the good news about this is we don't have to worry too much about getting this off because it is already toasted. So to do this repair, you're going to need some stuff. You're going to need a broken phone. You're going to need a replacement screen and replacement adhesive. And you're also going to need tools. You're also going to need a laser blaster because we're going to need to get hot, baby. So we are going to start by heating this guy up on the bottom and removing this. In heating this up, I typically do both front and back. I want to fully saturate the phone with warm air. I've discovered that if you do only the back, it cools off very, very quickly because all the heat is being soaked into the front. Can't even shut that guy off. That's some weird lines. That's kind of groovy. It's all psychedelic, bro. It's like totally tubular. Yeah, can't even shut it off. So let's just warm it up and pull the battery. Getting it hot to touch. And we're going to take our handy dandy flat razor and shove it right in this little slot. Push it in gently. Grab a couple of guitar picks. We're just going to gently open this. Usually when I get my guitar pick in, that's a good time to take that out, and let's start working it. And I just broke it. You suck. I kind of expected that though. This thing is in really rough shape overall. So since the back is already broken, we don't need to worry about saving it. I was kind of hoping I wouldn't break that. And once they go, they go. And this thing is just cracking everywhere. I've only seen this happen a couple times. Usually these will come off without incident. This particular one, this phone has been abused. So I'm not surprised that we're losing the back. Man, this thing is freaking out. I gotta get this thing off and disconnect that battery. So I'm wondering what direction I can really go with my YouTube channel. I want to ask you guys to comment in the bottom under the video. Are there subjects that would be fun to talk about during phone repair? So I'm kind of I really dig getting into conspiracies. I think they're a lot of fun. And they get people thinking. Sometimes. Sometimes they don't. They just get people arguing. And so if I were to have a subject matter while I'm fixing a phone that is not phone related, what would be fun to see? Is my question to you guys. So we gotta be careful. Let me get this glass out of my way. Hot dang. Shut that background baby up. Alright, so I know that we have to be careful because the connected button here. So let us very gently keep getting under this. And there is our connection. And look at that. It just popped right off like nothing. So we're going to set that aside because we do need to take out these camera covers. And the button, of course. So set him aside. And next, we're going to take out 14 screws, it looks like. And last time I checked, these were all the same. So we're just going to put those right there. So yeah, we can talk about conspiracies if you guys want. And the way that I'd like to do that is find out what conspiracies you guys are interested in. Leave the comment, and I'm willing to talk about any of them. Any of them. And my favorite part about conspiracies is playing the advocate for the theorist. So sometimes crazy people come up with crazy ideas, and they're just straight up crazy. However, sometimes sane people come up with sane ideas that only appear crazy, until you educate yourself a little bit, and then you realize that the person you thought was crazy was actually telling the truth and knew what he or she was talking about. And we can't forget that not all conspiracies are theories, because there are several that have been proven factual after the fact. If you're going to Google search one, Google search the Gulf of Tonkin. It's our Vietnam War conspiracy theory that turned out to be actually true, totally true. And what it was, I'm probably going to get something wrong here, so forgive me if you know more about this one than I do. Basically what it was our government wanted to get more involved in Vietnam, and they decided that to do that they would stage a hoax. And that hoax was that they were going to blow up one of their ships and they were going to blame it on the enemy, and they did. And at the time there were people that came out and said, no, this is wrong, our government's lying to us. And they were labeled as conspiracy theorists. Conspiracy theorists. And they were obviously, demonized and told that they're stupid and everybody calls them names and blah blah blah. Well, we find out later through declassified CIA documents that is exactly what happened. And our government was busted basically lying to the people so that they could go to war. And now we know that to be true, so the conspiracy theory turned into conspiracy fact. Now, who knows how many times that's happened, but it's definitely more than just once. We know that. But that's an easy one to go back in time and, look at the documents, assess really what was going on at the time, and see what, for further proof that, yes, the conspiracy theories sometimes are conspiracy fact. And so I keep that in mind as I research some of the new theories and some of the really weird, wacky stuff that comes out. We're just going to test this screen, so this is a very critical spot, especially these screens. So the Galaxy S8, these are pretty expensive. I don't remember what I paid for it. I know that it was more than $100, less than $200. I want to say somewhere around $160 to $180 is what I paid for a brand new Galaxy S8 screen. But before I peel anything off, always a great idea to just test it, make sure that the phone power's back on, and that all the functions work before we tear it down any farther. Because if they don't work, we don't want to waste our time doing a repair that isn't going to work. Because once you install these screens, there's usually no going back. Okay, so I'm going to reconnect the battery. I've got the screen here connected, and I believe my power button is on the other side, so I'm just going to gently push the power button with my spudger. We have life! Bring it, Galaxy S8. We're going to let this guy go all the way to boot and then make sure that the touch functions work as well. So, what kind of theories out there do you guys want to talk about? Alright, we look good. Everything's working. So, I am going to power this off the right way. So let's finish up our repair. Set brand new screen aside. So there's two ways we can go about taking this screen out. A, we can remove the logic board to prevent any damage, any possible risk of damage to that. Or, since the LCD is already broken, I'm going to just take it through the front because I don't have to worry about not breaking it. So we're going to just flip this guy back over. We're going to give it a little bit more heat, and then we are going to start separating the top layer. So kind of the same way, I'm going to start here at the bottom, and we're just going to get this to lift up. Now the front of this is like severely destroyed, so this one's going to really come up in a lot of different pieces, but we'll see what we can do here. The gloves, believe it or not, these black gloves, these do a great job of protecting against this broken glass too. I personally wear them because I micro solder, and I don't like having the lead paste and the flux, the sticky goo and all that kind of stuff. I don't like getting it on my skin. So I wear the gloves, but I also really like the gloves when I'm handling busted phones, because often my glove is the indicator of the glass. I'll rip or tear my glove before I rip and tear my skin. But I have bled profusely on phone repairs in the past. So whatever you can do to not gouge up yourself, probably end up with some strange disease. They say phones are dirtier than toilet seats, and somehow some part of me believes that. And this is a legit repair, guys. This is not like one of those videos that you see where it's all like classy and everything is perfect lighting and the phone just comes apart like nothing. That's not how these guys come apart. These phones were meant to be water resistant, and so they use a very, very good barrier of adhesive on these, and it is a challenge to get them off. So if this is your first time and you found this video and you're looking for, you know, what is this really going to look like? This is what it really looks like when you're attempting to take off a screen on a brand new phone. Well, a phone that's never been opened, excuse me. And we're going to go ahead and throw some more heat on it now. And so some conspiracy theories, yes, are total crap. Y2K. I remember Y2K, man. The computers weren't going to be able to handle the change. They were going to revert back to 1972. Satellites were going to fall out of the sky. People were going to die. The whole economic systems around the world were going to collapse. Yes, that was Y2K, baby. And as we know, now it's Y218, Y2K18, or whatever it would be. And we're all still here. There was in the newspaper or on the media somewhere recently a satellite that, you know, fell out of the sky, unrelated to Y2K, but yes, satellites do sometimes fall out of the sky. But that one, you know, was definitely one that people look at and they're like, "See, you conspiracy theorist, you're a retard. You know, you believe in all sorts of stupid stuff." And it's like, well, you know, not really. You know, but just because some of them are fake and wrong doesn't mean that they all are. And that's what I try to keep in mind is yes, there are some that are straight up hokey, don't make any sense. There's, you know, and ones that are provable, like Y2K clearly didn't happen because we're still here. So yes, some conspiracy theories are BS. Some of them are not. And I think they're fun to talk about. I can't really tell what's going on. I'm putting a lot of stress on this, like I say, because the LCD is already broken, so it doesn't really matter. I'm not going to make anything any worse, as long as I don't damage anything on the logic board. There we go. Now she's starting to peel off. So I'm going to watch this here. So my phone is still pretty warm, but this is kind of neat. If you have a little bit of pressure, and this is only for phones that are already destroyed, so don't try to do this on one that you're trying to save the LCD. If you got a working LCD that you're trying to refurbish, don't do this. But if you're trying to refurbish an LCD, you're probably not watching my channel. And so with the heat, I can just gently keep going, and that adhesive releases pretty well. And I want to keep as minimal glass breaking as possible, so I'm going to use a spudger. What makes these the biggest challenge is they actually glue the back of the LCD, or it's a sticky adhesive that will stick to the back here. And so when you try to lift it and you're cutting the adhesive around the edges, what happens is you end up breaking the LCD because it is adhered to the base of the phone, to the frame of the phone. But the heat makes this glue a little bit pliable. Alright, so we got the screen off. And that guy's destroyed. There's nothing on there that I'm going to try to salvage, so he goes in the garbage. Next, we are going to clean off all of this adhesive. We want this baby to be nice and clean when we put the new stuff on. And so as far as conspiracy theories go, what are they? If you guys in the comment section, let me know which ones you know about and which ones you think would be fun to have a discussion on. And kind of what I'm hoping for is some new ones, because I got pretty exhausted on a lot of these different conspiracy theories, and I haven't looked at any new ones probably for a couple years. And so I know that there's got to be some out there. And it'll be awesome to find out what you guys think of, or if there's even just another subject that we can talk about. Stuff like kitties. A lot of glass. Came across something new last night that I thought was really kind of neat, and that was puzzles. Solving puzzles. There was a guy I found, I don't remember what channel he was, but he takes these really complex, super difficult puzzles that are you know, made of metal or made of wood, and he tries to solve them. And I think that'd be fun too. If you guys have puzzles that you want to see me solve, I'm pretty decent with puzzles. I think that's why I enjoy micro soldering, because I look at them and it's like, okay, this, you know, image isn't working for Y, or this, you know, how come the phone isn't booting? You know, I like trying to figure things out and solve them. And so I've been fascinated with this guy's YouTube channel doing these puzzles. So I'm using just 91% alcohol here to clean up all the rest of the sticky goo, because we don't want any of this. If we want this phone to be sealed again and sealed properly, we don't want any of this. The worst thing to happen is when you put a screen on, especially a very expensive screen, and you cheap out on your adhesive, then that phone comes back, and then it makes you look like an idiot. And we don't like to do that. Oh, I think I forgot to tell you guys too, I moved again, my shop. So I was renting a space with the inside of a computer repair shop here in the mall that I work at. I got kind of too big too fast, and so I negotiated with the mall and I got my own space. So now I'm in a very big, very nice workspace for myself. Pretty happy about that. Alright, I think I got that decent. This part down here, there's a little bit of just residue that is hanging on right here that I really kind of want to get rid of. It doesn't look too bad, but let's just work it a little bit more. The few minutes extra that you put in here has the potential to save you hours later. Because if you have to redo this screen and you have to try to lift it and salvage it so that you can redo it and redo the adhesive and make everything actually right like it should have been the first time, that's a pain. That is a ginormous pain. Alright, I think we are ready. Just checking things out. Everything looks really good. Oh, let's go ahead and clean up the back of this too while we're here, because we gotta put a new back panel on as well. My little pump of alcohol, this is a brand new one, and it kind of sucks, unless it's supposed to do this. But every time I pump it up, I don't know if you can see that, but I pump up, I fill the little bowl, and it just drains right back down in. I'm sure that'll help me save alcohol, but I kind of like having a little reservoir there. If anybody has any suggestions for how to get this adhesive off cleaner and more efficiently, please comment. I did see a video recently where a guy used his heat gun. He was doing it on an iPad, but kind of the same exact concept here. But he used his heat gun to warm it up, and then used like a cotton hand towel. And he said it just came right up easy. I tried that method, and I couldn't get it to come up that easy. And so I'm back to my alcohol and Q-tips until I find another, or perhaps I didn't do his right, you know? I'm kind of nitpicking this, but it's so important to get this clean. You can jankify it, and you can half-ass it all you want, and sometimes they work just fine. If it were my personal device, I wouldn't probably worry too much about this, but because it's a customer's device, and I want my customer to be happy, I don't want to take any chances on having this come back because of, you know, adhesive lifting, especially adhesive lifting. That's one of my least favorite things to happen, and I seem to get that a lot on Motorola's. So I'm trying some different techniques to make sure that I can get them to stay down. But it is a learning process. I think that's pretty okay. So now let's double check this. Oh, look at that little piece of glass. See that? Almost missed it. I wonder if I can get this. I don't have autofocus on my camera. See this piece of glass right here though? Right in the corner. That little guy is enough to shatter your brand new $165 screen. So let's take a good close look and make sure that there is nothing else. Oh, look at that. There's even a tiny little, these are the things you gotta watch for. This is a borderline microscopic shard of glass, literally right in the corner. You can't even see it on my end of my tweezers. That's enough to break your LCD. It's so important to get all the glass shards out between those layers, because you try to press them down and it looks like it's kind of like, oh, you're like, oh, maybe I just press a little bit and it'll sink down. And then all of a sudden you hear a little snap. You're looking at a $165 piece of garbage in front of you. So no glass. So phase 2 here is reassembly. So we need to put these and these on. Oh no, check it out. This is set up to be laid out on the phone. So let's try it. Oh, this is cool. This is very cool. Heck yes. Look at that. Boy, that does a great job. Let's put our bottom one on. I like that. And now this one. Well, this is kind of hard to figure out exactly where this guy lines up. I know that he goes this way, and I can see how, but getting him perfect. Set him down, and then this one I should be able to just... Nope. I'm gonna have to cut that. So I'm just gonna cut this guy, and then hold this one over here, and get him lined up. Okay, I'm pretty happy with that. All the brand new adhesive looks like it is ready to go. Now we already tested the screen, so when I put this on, I'm just going to go ahead and lay it down. Is there anything I'm forgetting before putting that screen on? I hope not. So I'm going to peel you up, and I'm going to peel you up. This is very, very sticky adhesive too, which is kind of cool. Way better than any of the crap you can buy on the rolls. Okay, so before I take off those last two, I am going to get this partially lined up. No, I'm not. Let's just do it. Look at that brand new, fresh adhesive. Yeah, this is way better than the way that I was doing it. I hope you guys can see what I'm doing. So I'm avoiding the adhesive. I'm lining up my connection. Wow, that stuff already stuck down. And I'm not lined up. Oh, that's no good. Release with a little warm air. See, that's why I'm showing this, because this is the kind of stuff that you might run into. And if you don't want that LCD to break, you gotta be careful. Alright, go ahead and release. Oh no. So, let's try something new. Let's... Oh no. Oh man, I'm an idiot. If I can get those out of there. Yeah, that was a bonehead move. Don't do that. Let's try to get this screen off one more time without breaking it. Alright, so I am very gently trying to work this screen. I'm going to heat it up a little bit more. I think it's kind of sitting where it's going to sit. Alright, so now that that's back on, we are going to connect the battery and give it the old testaroo, make sure we didn't cause any damage. Hey! While that is booting, I am going to find a black Galaxy S8 back glass. Alright, phone is on. Touch is working, but it is encrypted for my security. Okay, so now that that is working and everything looks good, yeah, I like that. Got it down one more time. Something I find highly irritating is not knowing when this camera shuts off. So I don't know what you just missed. It could be anywhere from just a couple minutes to, gosh dang, you could have missed a good 10 minutes. So if I throw in moon pictures or something, that'll be why. Don't panic. Okay, so the phone is tested and working. We are going to lay down this stuff. I saw some David Blaine magic recently, and I guess to tie that to conspiracy theories, there are people who theorize that David Blaine is working with Satan, and he uses his evil minions to make things appear and disappear and do these tricks. And I remember the first few times I watched David Blaine, my mind was blown. Like, I couldn't believe it. I mean, I thought he was like legitimately using special powers, you know, because his tricks were just so unbelievable. And my son, who's only 5 right now, is really into magic. He likes magic tricks, and he plays with his cards, and he's always, "Dad, you want to see a magic trick?" And so I've been showing him videos on, you know, how to learn card tricks and sleight of hand and stuff like that. And even with just a little bit of understanding, I can now look back on some of those David Blaine videos that just blew my mind. And I see where his sleight of hand is taking place. I can see where he's palming a card, or changing a card, or flipping a card, or doing a double lift or a triple lift. Once you kind of learn some of the techniques, that's why magicians don't fool other magicians, because they can see through the trick. But us normal people, or people who don't know the magic, or who haven't invested the time to understand it, we might look at it and be, you know, totally dazzled, like, how is that even possible? But that's why I like conspiracy theories so much, is the theory, you know, you have a magician who, you know, you watch him get locked up, put in a box, chained up, you know, and then his beautiful assistant stands on top of the box, they raise the curtain, they let the curtain go, the curtain hits the ground, and guess who's standing in front of you? It's the magician. And then of course he unlocks the box, pulls out the beautiful girl, and your mind is blown, like, how did that happen? You know, you could think it's teleportation, you can think, you know, whatever you kind of want, but without enough information, it'd be easy to think that something supernatural happened, or that it, you know, that it happened the way that he says it is, which is the magician is claiming that it's a supernatural. But like I say, when you understand how the trick works, and you realize that he was never truly chained, that the locks that they put on his hands were not locked, and he's already out of the bag, and you know, there's zippers and all that kind of stuff, and so he's literally waiting. By the time that the girl climbs up on top and standing, he's waiting to run up there, and then of course everything is preset so that she jumps down into the box, quickly zips herself up into the sack, and then it looks like she's bound. Here's how I'll tie this together. The conspiracy theorist is the guy who says, no, he didn't teleport, dude. There was no magical powers, there was no demonic possessions that took place. And the theorist will look at it and go, well, I know that, you know, A, B, and C have to happen in order for the trick to be, you know, a good trick. I'm going to use a little bit of heat to release the finger button scanner and the frame off of the camera and proximity lenses, or ambience, or whatever those things are. A little bit of heat. So anyway, the magician does the trick and wants you to believe that it's supernatural, that he's doing something. The conspiracy theorist goes, no, wait a minute. These people are conspiring. The guy, the girl, the other stagehands, they're all conspiring together to fool us, to trick us into believing something that didn't really happen or that isn't real. Imagine calling that guy who thinks it's just a trick to make us believe something that isn't real. He's the guy that's called the conspiracy theorist because he's theorizing on how it's done. He has a theory for why he doesn't believe the official story, the official truth. But now if you take that person and you just label him as a conspiracy theorist and you're an idiot and just look at it, there's no explanation other than supernatural and he's working with demons. If he has you convinced he's working with demons, then he's done his job very effectively, and that's what's cool about magic. So the theorist says, hey, this is how I think it could be done, and if he can prove that that is a way that it's done, then he could ultimately go back to the magician and say, okay, I have a theory and I think this is how you do it. Show me your facts. Let me look at the bag that you were tied up in. Let me inspect the chains and the locks, and let me really get a good look at this. And if the magician is like, no, you can't see it, that's classified information. That's a national security. That's a national security. We can't show you the table. We can't show you the bag and the locks because it's a matter of national security. And so naturally the conspiracy theorist who thinks it's just a trick, that we've all been fooled, if he doesn't get access to that, then he can't really prove that he was right. But now if 50 years later that information is declassified, like all information is supposed to be classified 50 years after its classification, he'd never be able to prove it, and he can be labeled as an idiot, as a conspiracy theorist, even though he's right. And then what happens is 50 years go by, the truth is declassified, he gets a hold of those documents and he says, look, I was right all along, and then he gets no credit for it. That's what happens to the conspiracy theorists. But often they're right. And I'm a believer that when you look at the magic, let's say you believed that it was truly demonic possession, take a good solid look at the magic, try to understand it from the conspiracy theorist's point of view, and prove it. Just making sure this button is good. The great thing about having these with all the adhesive pre-installed is you actually get to use clean, good adhesive, and that's really what you want. You don't want to try to use the old stuff, because it'll cause problems for you later, almost guaranteed. Alright, that looks in there real nice. Okay, so we are ready to seal this phone. Before we do, we are going to double check everything and make sure that everything still looks good. This looks like there's a bit more of a gap than what I would like. I'm not going to freak out about that though. I think I can warm it and massage it down, which is, it looks like just doing what I'm doing is kind of massaging it down. This baby is going to look brand spanking new when I'm all done with it, because there's no damage to the housing here. Even the original Qualcomm sticker is still there. This phone wasn't very old. Okay, but we're checking. We have all of our screws in place. We've got our fingerprint sensor in place. Everything here looks really good. I don't have any extra pieces laying on my table. There's no extra pieces that need to come off of this. And I'm going to remove this piece just to make it cleaner, laying this one down. This is the hard part. This is the most challenging part, is getting this to click down here. So you're probably not going to be able to see this on camera, but I will get it hooked up. And there's a few ways of doing this, but when your adhesive is exposed, it gets a little bit difficult because you can't let the adhesive touch. And this is one of those little Lego type connectors, so it's pretty simple to get it and find it and get it to click in, but you just really want to be extremely cautious not to jam it if it's not sitting precisely, because you can ruin it very simply. And I'm just going to struggle here. There we go. So got that guy clicked in, a little bit of back tension, so I'm going to reach in with my spudger and just touch the top of that connector, make sure that he has a good seat. Oh, come on, adhesive, don't grab too soon. I'll line up the top here, make sure we're sitting right where we want it, and we're going to let it go back and give it some pressure. Hot dang, that looks beautiful. I love putting a new back on these, they look so good. The only difference between, let's see, because I pay big dollars for these, the only difference between these two is it looks like the font is just a little bit bigger on the original. But the aftermarket ones, you can get them with or without, you know, the logos and the print. I pay extra to have all three logos printed. Yeah, it doesn't have the, yeah, it doesn't match because it doesn't have the IMEI number. Oh. Hot dang, believe it or not, this even has an IMEI number printed on it, which is obviously not correct because I just traded it. That's interesting. Very cool. This is the first one of these that I've used. I was getting them from a different supplier, and I really, really like these. These are great. So one more time, let's just power this baby up. Make sure everything still looks good, and it does. So that, ladies and gentlemen, is how you do a screen repair and a back glass cover repair on a Galaxy S8. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and let me know what conspiracy theory you would like to talk about in the next video. Have a great day, and we will see you again on the next repair. Thanks for watching.